Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. You know you're watching Firewood at the Furnace, and if it's your first time here, my name is Brad. Welcome to the channel. We appreciate all the returning subscribers and all the new faces that we've been seeing here recently, so thank you once again. As you can see by the setup here today, we are in store for some splitting action. We're going to have a splitting session today and try to get through this locust and into this oak behind me as well. I'll give you a little tour around the yard and show you where we're at as far as the logs that we're laying here and what's been bucked up and what's come in since then. And we've got a new piece of equipment, not really a piece of equipment, but a new part that we're going to install today and see if it makes a difference on what we've been dealing with the ram splitter here. So stick around. All right, so it's pretty chilly out here this morning. It feels really good. I'm anxious to get to work and work up a little bit of a sweat here because cooler weather is perfect weather for firewood. But you see I've got the four-wheeler hooked up to the little yard trailer here, so we're going to split this locust into that. There's not a whole lot of locust here, so I'm not going to split into the dump trailer yet. Once we get over to the oak pile, since there's a good bit more oak that's ready to be split, we'll split that right into the dump trailer. But the locust and the oak are here waiting to be split. We'll come over here to the other side of the dump trailer, and we have this maple that is still waiting to be split. And then of course all of the ash, it's kind of behind the skid loader here now, but we've got all these ash rounds that need to be split. But as I told you before, I'm going to concentrate on the oak and the locust first because that takes the longest to dry. And we'll get to the ash once that's done. But I have since gotten another load of ash logs into the yard here. So that all needs to still be bucked up. The walnut load that was laying here is all cleaned up. And those logs are, or those rounds are right here. So we've got quite a bit of splitting to do, and I told you there in the beginning of the intro that we had a new part that we were going to put on the ram splitter, and if you've been following along, you know what that part is. The four-way wedge, the new four-way wedge is laying right there. We're going to put that on and see if we can replace what's been going on here with this four-way. You know that the metal got pretty thin on there and started warping and bending and got a little wavy. I was having some problems with the splits getting hung up on the bottom. So we'll get the splitter fired up and warmed up. We'll switch out the wedges, or they call it the wing. We'll switch out that four-way wing and see what difference it makes. All right, so it's been a little while since I talked to you about this four-way wedge. We've been doing a lot of deliveries and then been doing a lot of bucking to get the yard kind of cleaned up from all the logs laying here. But that was kind of purposeful in the beginning because I was waiting for this four-way wedge to arrive, and what ram splitter told me would be, you know, it would get sent right out, turned into a couple months before I received it, and that was because they say they're having problems getting tool steel. I don't know if anyone else is having those issues still, but ram splitter still seems to be having a problem getting material. But anyway, if you missed that video before, I'll pull this out and kind of give you a close-up on what the situation is with it. But this four-way wedge, you can see there how deformed this one side of the wing is. The other side's not bad, and you know I'm not the original owner of this splitter, so I don't know, maybe if something was pushed through it that shouldn't have been, or if the metal's just gotten thin over time and, you know, if there's a problem with the hardness or whatever. My belief is that something was probably tried to get pushed through there that shouldn't have been, and that's what deformed it originally, and then once it was deformed and weakened, it never got back into shape. But anyway, here's the new one. It's the new four-way wedge. Haven't even had it in yet. I'm going to drop it in right now. We're going to use it for the first time today. So hopefully that will be an improvement, but we're going to find out right now. So while the splitter's warming up, I did just notice something. This old wedge here looks like it's not, the horizontal part of the four-way looks like it's shorter than the new one. So I'm gonna measure it and see exactly what that difference is. So we got 7 inches on that side, should be the same. Yep, 7 inches across on this one. And on this new one, we've got 8 inches. So it's an inch longer on each side, which should be helpful. I don't think that can hurt anything at all. So the larger rounds will have an inch more of a wedge to help get through it. So I guess that's a change they might have made since this was done. All right, let's get to work. All right, so I got a little bit of a problem already here. This piece right here is what I just pushed through the splitter with the four-way wedge all the way up. That is too small. I mean, we're splitting locust here, so this is heating wood, not campfire wood, and certainly not kindling. So that is as high as the four-way goes up, substantially lower than the old one. So here's the problem. Let me lower the wedge all the way down so you can see what I'm talking about. So underneath, when you raise and lower the wedge, this is the bar from the cylinder that pushes up on the bottom of the wedge. It raises and lowers. All the way down, this wedge should be touching here so that as soon as you hit that handle to raise the wedge, it should be making contact. So this gap here, we are losing all that height. Now I'll switch it back out so you can see the difference here real quick. Now here's the old wedge back in, and you can see right off the bat that the top of the wedge is not sitting as high above the splitter. And if you look down here at the bottom of the wedge is making contact with that arm. So as soon as you pull the handle to raise it, that wedge is moving up. You don't have that space and that delay from the wedge coming up. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to stand them both up side by side and see how far off this thing was built. So here they are side by side. I got to keep my hand on this one so it doesn't fall over the new one here. But you can see how far off the design is. I mean, I'm wondering if this is even considered the same part. Now, this is an older machine, but they know what I have. They know the machine that I have. So I would hope that would be taken into consideration. But the difference there, where these wings were welded on, is substantial. And I don't even think I'm going to be able to use this. So I'm going to have to get in touch with them and see what they want to do about it. But for today, it looks like the old wing is going back on. Not very happy about that. So there's the first load of locust on the little yard trailer. This is what's left of the locust that's laying here. Most of the bigger stuff was on the bottom. So we'll probably get another trailer load out of it, which will equal probably around half a cord when it's all stacked. But I'm gonna pull the four-wheeler up here. I gotta make a little repair to this divider here. This divider fell over, so I gotta set that back up and get that secured again and start stacking this locust. And I wanna talk to you a little more about that wedge, because as I was splitting that load there, I was doing some thinking, and I'm gonna tell you my thoughts. Well, I may have to shift gears here in a few minutes, because in the last 20 minutes, I've had 2 customers pull in and buy bundles. Somebody stopped by last night and bought bundles. So the stand has only got three left in there. So I'm gonna get this locust done and get the bundler out and maybe make a few bundles to refill that stand, because it seems like this weekend might be a busy weekend for bundles. But anyway, back on the topic of that wedge. While I was splitting, I was thinking, you know, how can I solve this problem without having to, you know, have them build me a new wedge or wait to have them send me a new wedge. So I was thinking, you know, that little bar underneath the splitter that's connected to the cylinder that raises and lowers it, maybe I could just put a block, you know, weld a small block on top of that to take up the distance, that space that's not being filled with that new wedge. But then as I thought about it, I said, no, that's not going to work either, because all that's going to do is raise the bottom edge of the wedge up higher in the splitter. And I think eventually when it pushes on that, it's probably going to force the wedge up out of the splitter, make an unsafe situation, and, you know, cause that wedge to actually pop out of the splitter, because it's not pinned in, it just sits down in there. And I've never ever had a problem with the other one coming up out of there. But because that distance is so short now, if I were to try to alleviate the problem by, you know, welding a spacer in there, I don't think that's going to work. So I've already sent a text message to John, who is the representative from Ram Splitter that I deal with most of the time, pretty much all the time, and explained the situation to him. I sent him some pictures to show him, you know, what was going on, basically what I'm showing you in the video, and I'm waiting for a response. Now today is Saturday when I'm filming this, so I don't know if their shop is open or if he's working today. So if I don't get a response today, that's understandable. But I am curious to what he has to say. Now, maybe there's an easy explanation, and maybe they've changed the design on their splitters over the last couple years and that's what they use now. But I'm thinking not. So I will keep you up to date on this situation. I'm always transparent with everything that I do. I'm sure that John will do whatever he can to make this right for me. And you know, just a little delay in the progress here, that's all. So don't I know some of you are looking at the Ram splitters, and some of you already have the Ram splitters. So don't take this negatively quite yet. Let's wait and see together on how this situation is handled. And like I said, I'll be completely upfront and transparent with you. But I'm going to get the rest of this locust stacked. I do want to get the rest of the locust that's still over there split. And then I need to get that bundle stand refilled. So here we go. All right, so here's another. This is the second load of locust, and it is all finished up. That's everything that we had laying there as far as the locust is concerned is now split. I'm gonna pull the four-wheeler up and stack this as well, but this video is getting a little long now since we had all the issues that I wanted to describe and illustrate to you about the Wedge. So I'll keep you updated on that. Like I said, I'm going to get this stuff stacked. You saw there at the end of the time lapse that I was making a few bundles. Just made a few real quick in case somebody showed up, but I'm going to make some more right now after we close this thing out and make sure that stand is full for this weekend. So that's going to be it. I hope you enjoyed the video, and please like and subscribe. Check out some of these videos here at the end, and as always, thank you so much for stopping by. Have a great week, everybody.